am going to start off with a poem here. So I'm going to start off with a poem, and it's called The Bridge Builder by Will Allen Doleridge. An old man going down a lone highway came in the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossing in the twilight dim, that sullen stream held no fears for him. But he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you are wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You have crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you this bridge at evening tide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This sullen stream which has been knocked to me, to that fair-haired youth, may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building the bridge for him. Now, usually when I present that poem, I ask everyone, when in your life have you been the old man? When in your life have you been the fair-haired youth, or even the fellow pilgrim near? But my question for you, everybody, is I would say that we as Toastmasters have all been the fair-haired youth, proverbially. We may not have been fair-haired, but when have we been a fair-haired youth in our Toastmasters journey? So either put it in the chat or yell it out in the room. When have we been the fair-haired youth in our Toastmasters journey?
First visit.
First visit. First speech, certainly. 2020, great answer. I would even say simpler than that. We've all been the fair-haired youth because somebody started a club for us. Somebody built that club for us. And how many people know who the club sponsor was for their club? I know Montgomery Toastmasters, we're about to celebrate our 70th year. I have no idea who the club sponsor was 70 years ago. But it was because of their building that I was able to join and benefit from that. And so that's what I want to talk to you today, is about being a club sponsor. And we're going to talk about the sponsor's duties, and we're going to talk about different aspects of the corporate club. I'm going to overlap some with Distinguished Toastmaster Shirley on that. Talk about launching a community club, completing the charter, planning the presentation, or AKA the chartering party, and then a special program I want to tell everyone for inactive clubs. So the sponsor duties, there's only 4 duties that this club sponsor has. You have to organize a new club, you have to set up the club meetings, you have to submit the paperwork, and then you plan the charter presentation. Now, those are very simple to say, but of course, getting started is always the challenge for the club sponsor. Oops. And I want to break this into, we're going to talk mainly about corporate and community, but you know, there are other types of clubs that could be started, and with advanced clubs and with specialty clubs. And each of these I would have a subset for and say that, you know, is it a corporate virtual? Is it a corporate hybrid? Is it a corporate in-person? And each of these clubs, is this going to be a community virtual, a community hybrid club? So with that subset there, it expands into very different types of clubs, because that type of club will affect your recruiting approach. When we talk about corporate clubs, and distinguished Toastmaster Shirley touched on this, and I really want to emphasize it, is that you are recruiting two main entities in a corporate club. You're recruiting members to be part of the club, but you're recruiting the company to support the club. And so when you're looking at corporate clubs, of course, you have to do an initial assessment of the company. For instance, with the company size, the company that I work for right now is currently 10 employees. Probably not a good corporate club candidate, because that would mean we'd have to shut down everything just to have a club meeting. And that probably isn't going to go over too well with the owner on that. But I don't want that obstacle to be the stopping point. Is there perhaps an association that our company belongs to, that maybe that association, which has other smaller organizations, could have a club and create members from their member organizations? So just because a company isn't an initial target, maybe they can lead you to a better fit there. And then we talked about the key contacts and working with the decision makers. On the company side, you really need to research what are the company's strategies, their key initiatives, their priorities. These things are going to be your selling points of Toastmasters to that company. How does Toastmasters benefit their future strategies? How does it benefit their priorities? So finding those things out and crafting your message to those 5 things really helps to recruit that corporate entity to support that Toastmasters club. And then with a corporate club, you've got to talk about finances. Is the company going to finance the dues, or, as distinguished Toastmaster Shirley pointed out, are they going to pay the tuition to the program, or are they going to make a partial commitment, or are they going to make members pay their own way with that? And having that commitment from the company ahead of time will determine your strategy of how you're going to recruit the members. Once you've got your base members together, once you've got your company together, then you're going to do the demonstration meeting. Now, when you're planning a demonstration meeting, and how many people have been on a demonstration meeting? Just kind of raise your hands for me there. When you're planning a demonstration meeting for corporate companies, I would ask you to spend extra time on your speaker and your evaluator. And what do you think that they should kind of craft their message to? Anybody have a quick answer?
Benefits of Toastmasters?
The benefits of Toastmasters, that's always a good thing. But what about in this area here? Should your demonstration meeting, your speaker and or your evaluator be touching on these things for the company? So when you're planning that, make sure to have that as a potential for you. And then your speaker and let's get rid of that. Then your speaker and your evaluator touch on those corporate priorities. That's a little nuance you need for that corporate demonstration meeting. Of course, be respectful of the time. You need to have the 3 aspects: the prepared speeches, the table topics, and the evaluation and feedback for that. They may only say that you have 30 minutes of their time, and you've got to adjust the meeting, but don't skip on that. We may have to cut down to 1 speaker, 1 evaluator, but make sure that we have those 3. And then we have a demo team that can do all the roles. And then we're encouraging participation from the participants, especially in the table topics. Make sure your high-level decision makers are there at the meeting. And then also use this as a recruiting event. You have this group that is very interested, have them invite guests that are potentially interested so that they can see this as see the meeting and further their interest with Toastmasters there. And then the timing of the demonstration meeting, you've got to make sure that once you give a demonstration meeting, you're really looking at, you're on the final part of completing that application. The last thing you really want to do is have a demonstration meeting and then 6 months later try and put together the application for chartering. So you're not going to start off with a demonstration meeting. You're going to kind of build that core. And then when you have that demonstration meeting, you're on, you know, that time frame of looking to fill out that chartering information within 4 to 6 weeks is generally a good timeline for that. So that may mean 2 demonstration meetings. You may have an initial interest one and then a final one, but between that final demonstration and the chartering, you want to keep that time frame pretty tight there because people will forget. In launching a community club, we're going to do the same things, except in this case, in a community club, you're looking at groups of individuals. You don't have to sell on a corporate level what the benefits of Toastmasters is to a corporation entity. You're selling that to this group of individuals. You're planning the meeting, you're publicizing the meeting, and a good resource for you is the local Chamber of Commerce. Publicizing the meeting, I would definitely encourage a Facebook event, and then look for community groups within Facebook. What are community groups that what are Facebook groups that kind of represent that community, that publicize events in that community? And that would be a good place to post into that you are publicizing your meeting, as long as you are posting within the guidelines. For instance, we have a very active group in Montgomery that's called Lunch in the Gump. Well, they are talking about food events and everything in Montgomery, so it's not really appropriate for me to post, hey, we're starting a Toastmasters club, since it doesn't go with that. But there are other community events, groups that you can look at. Of course, you want to display the posters and then target specialized groups. One thing that I want to point out here is the alliance with the Rotary Club International. Toastmasters International and Rotary Club has set up an alliance where they have access to some of the Toastmasters course information. It's not exactly Pathways, but it's similar to Pathways. So they can already see some of what they do in Toastmasters. So that alliance is a great way to generate interest in Toastmasters and help build that core for community groups. And then you go, once you've done the demonstration, once you've got the group together, once you've met the requirements, you complete the charter paperwork. And I've listed out the forms that you need for that. I don't think that you need to have this all written down right now. The big thing would be to go to toastmasters.org/121. That is the manual that has all of this information with the step-by-step guide. So you don't really need to have all of this written down for you on this slide here. And now, so what we've done, we've got the interest, we've recruited, we've submitted the paperwork, and now it's time to plan the party. And this is the chartering presentation, and I call it a party, but it is a formal meeting. But I would encourage you in this presentation to create, you know, you're celebrating your first members, your chartering members that come in there. But I would encourage you to also use this as a recruiting event and bring in guests. You know, these are our first members. Are you going to be the second ones to come on board with us? Bring that as a recruiting event. Of course, plan a meal, plan snacks for the event. That's always the best. Publicize the charter presentation. I am not really big on printed programs, but this one I would encourage you to have a nice printed program, and that would be a good idea to have all the chartering members sign the program and create and have that as a historical document that here was our chartering, here was who was there, have the signatures, and create that as a memento and potential gift for your club sponsors, for your club members. And then of course always do a meeting, especially if you have guests, if you have recruitment there. One last thing I want to talk about here is I want to talk about a special program that Toastmasters International has done for inactive clubs. How many clubs did District 77 have as of June 30th, 2018? How many clubs did District 77 have as of June 30th, 2018? Basically about 5 years ago.
65.
I heard 65. It's higher.
Oh, 82.
82, close enough. 84. There were 84 clubs 5 years ago. And today, how many clubs do we have in District 77?
51.
51. Okay. I think that was our club growth director that spit that number out. Yes. I recognize. So doing a little math there, 84 minus 51, what is that? 33 clubs that have gone inactive in the last 5 years. Okay, so this is a program for those 33 clubs that these clubs can basically, before they'd have to recharter in order to do this. Toastmasters Board of Directors has generously offered this program that they can reopen the club with just 12 members instead of the 20. Now, 3 of those members have to be former club members. And so if you have 3 members plus 9 new members, you can reopen that club. Now, all members must pay their dues through September 2023. So you're paying almost a year's worth of dues, but it's not that they're paying any extra. They're just paying up front for that. But with that 12 members, with 12 total members, 3 former club members, and those dues, that club can be reopened. And we are having some success right now with one of those clubs that they're about to reopen. And they have their 12 members, they have their 3 former club members, and they have all the payments. They're going to just put in the paperwork and we'll have that club reopened very shortly. So this is a great program for the other 32 clubs, because this one's going to go off the list, that's available right now through March 31st, 2023. So this is different from being a chartering or a club sponsor, but I wanted to put this in there as well because this is a great opportunity to build some clubs in the district. With that, I want to close with Warren Buffett, where he said, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." And if I wanted to put the Toastmaster spin on this, is that we are members of clubs today because someone sponsored our club a long time ago. And I would encourage you to be that builder, to sponsor a club so that years from now, when your name is already forgotten, there are those fair-haired youth that come into that club and benefit from Toastmasters. Thank you.